Bienvenidos, comunidad P&M, una entrevista con Galle, quien es líder global de innovación estratégica. También es conocido por utilizar el método y ser cofundador de Think Wrong. Entonces, para iniciar, Greg, ¿cómo se aborda la innovación en este 2023?
We approach innovation from a sort of different place, which is we used to approach innovation from the idea. Does somebody have a compelling idea? Today, we approach innovation from the standpoint of, do you have a system in place for innovation that will allow ideas to repeatedly and sustainably be tested, developed, and built out so that they can survive and produce value in the marketplace.
Ok, a principios de este año vimos una alarmante oleada de despidos en el sector tecnológico. ¿Por qué ha sucedido esto y qué debemos esperar de la industria tecnológica en los próximos meses?
So, if you look at the labor statistics in the United States, in January, we added 500,000 jobs. So at the same time that we lost about 40,000 jobs in tech, we gained 460,000 jobs in other areas. So the reason, the largest reason why the tech sector is having layoffs is that they added too many people. They added too many people during COVID and coming out of COVID. So they overgrew their workforce. And now they are, it's sort of a painful term for people who are being let go, but they're right sizing. They're actually now bringing their workforce down to the level it should be. So if you look at a company like a Facebook or a Twitter, and they have massive workforces, especially when you think about a technology like Twitter, like how big does your user interface design team really need to be for Twitter? Do you need 100 user interface designers? So I think they overgrew too rapidly, and now they're bringing their workforces down to something that's a little bit more rational. And that in large part has to do with where venture capital was flowing for the last 10, 15 years. Venture capital has been flowing heavily into the tech sector, and so money has seemed to be free. Venture capital has stopped flowing into those markets at the same rate, and so now organizations are having to pay for their staff with their own money. When you have to pay for the staff with your own money, you start to make some tough decisions.
¿Cuál es el entorno mínimo viable para sostener la innovación?
I think many organizations are good at being one-hit wonders when it comes to innovation. You come up with one thing that everybody was excited about, it took off, and therefore we think that we're expert at innovation. And I think a lot of that has to do with timing and luck as much as anything. To sustain innovation, the minimum viable solution is some clarity around what are the roles and skills that we need. What's the process by which we do this? So how do you run a discovery-driven development process? And what are the knowledge and tools that we need to do this work? I think to sustain it, you have to be clear about those, and you have to be clear about how that basic minimal system of innovation is different from the dominant performance system that runs most organizations. Most organizations are built around productivity and being as efficient as they can be at producing known solutions to known problems. Those the components of that system might be categorically the same, but substantially they're different. Meaning, The mindsets are different, the policies are different, the skills are different, the technologies are different.
Ok, ¿y puedes hablarnos de la metodología Think Wrong y de cómo puede ayudar a las personas y a las empresas?
The Think Wrong methodology, if we think about an innovation system, it sits in the platform layer. So there's people who need to have certain skills. They have different roles, different responsibilities, different skills. And then they need to have on the platform, they need to have clarity about the process of innovation. And then on the platform, they need to have access to some knowledge and some tools that allow them to do that work. So Think Wrong is one of the tools. Think Wrong is a toolkit for problem solving. So if you are an innovator or you're a facilitator of innovation, or you're a leader of innovation in an organization, the Think Wrong methodology allows you to conceive of solutions that you might not otherwise come up with, right? They allow you to escape the biases and the orthodoxies that result from how our brain works and how culture works, so that we can come up with new concepts. We can produce what we call option value. That is 3, 4, 5 potentially disruptive solutions to a challenge that we're faced with. So it's a tool in a system that's quite helpful for conceiving of disruptive ideas. And it's something that an executive can expect, by supporting that, they can expect that they're going to get higher option value. It's something that an innovator or a facilitator can look at as a way of increasing their own value in the organization that they work in, or to increase their value in the marketplace that they serve.
Entonces, Greg, ¿por qué es importante que los CEOs comprendan la naturaleza del cambio?
Well, I think that if a CEO takes responsibility for the future of their organization, if a CEO feels a responsibility for prosperity in their nation, if a CEO feels a social obligation to produce things of value, then they need to master change, right? They need to understand that in order to thrive, not just survive, but in order to thrive, that we have to become quite skilled at anticipating change, at responding to change, and actually at leading change. There's a saying in the US, maybe it comes from somewhere else, but it's said in the US, that hope is not a strategy. And the change that we're advocating for with the CEOs that we do work with is that not that they abandon the performance system, but that they add an innovation system. So it's a yes and. Yes, you need a performance system and you need an innovation system. And until you implement that innovation system, you will continue to be dissatisfied with the results of your innovation investment. That's statistically, every innovation survey comes back that CEOs are unhappy. The McKinsey statistic is 94% of CEOs out of 3,000 that they interviewed were unhappy with the results of their innovation investment. They're going to be dissatisfied, and they're going to continue to experience loss of capital, financial capital, intellectual capital, human capital, and so on. And they're not only going to fall short of their innovation goals, they're going to be passed by those who can innovate, by those who have built the systems that allow them to sustain innovation.